Aquarius, let the sun shine in, the fifth dimension. This is Capital Radio on 194 medium wave and 95.8 VHF.
Independent Radio News, it's 5 minutes to 6. This is Alan Clark. We're starting our bulletin early for a ministerial broadcast from the Prime Minister, Mr. Callaghan, live from number 10 Downing Street. Although such a move would be highly unusual, Mr. Callaghan is expected to name the day for the general election. However, it is still possible that he may announce that he won't call the election until next year. Mr. Callaghan's broadcast, which should begin in a few seconds' time, follows a cabinet meeting this morning. And now, over to Downing Street.
Good evening. As you know, during the last few weeks, speculation has been building up about the possibility of a general election this autumn. Some time ago, in the summer, I said that I would make a statement on the future after the summer holidays. And this morning, I met the Cabinet and conveyed my views to them. And now I'd like to tell you, personally, how I see it. First of all, though, you may wonder why, as this Parliament still has over a year to run, the speculation started at all. Well, really, it was inevitable. As soon as the Liberal Party decided in the summer that they did not want to renew their agreement with the government. They've now resumed their full independence of action in Parliament. It's not for me to criticise that decision, but it's obvious it makes the government more vulnerable to defeats in the House of Commons than we were. And it was this decision, I think, that marks the beginning of the speculation. Another different reason why people have been saying that there would be an election is that things have been going much better during this year. Inflation's at its lowest level for some years. Taxes were cut during the summer. Increases in social benefits will take place this autumn. Living standards generally are improving. Now, I've seen it said often, only today it's been written again, that I've rigged this temporary election boom in order that I shall win. That is false. The benefit that the country is experiencing today is the result of your efforts, and the government has eased the situation because we thought the economy could stand it and for no other reason. These can be lasting, not temporary improvements, if we follow through with consistent policies. So I am not proposing to seek your votes because there is some blue sky overhead today. Of course, all the parties want to win a general election when it comes, but let's think for a moment of the great domestic issues that the country faces now and ask ourselves whether a general election now would make them any better this winter. Would a general election now make it easier to prevent inflation going up once more? Would unemployment be any less this winter? Would a general election now solve the problems of how to deal with pay increases during the next few months? Would it bring a sudden dramatic increase in productivity? No. There are no instant solutions, and advertising slogans are no substitute. The government must and will continue to carry out policies that are consistent, determined, that don't chop or change, and have brought about the present recovery in our fortunes. We can see the way ahead. I spelled it out this week at Brighton. With prices now more stable, with steadier growth, with the increasing advantage brought by North Sea oil, with good foreign exchange reserves, we can foster industrial confidence, and we've already laid the foundations to create a better life for all our people. I know that we have large and positive support in the country for the way we're facing these problems. So, when I met the Cabinet this morning, I invited ministers to prepare themselves for the fifth and final session of this Parliament. It will begin in the autumn. We shall make proposals to carry forward our social policy. We've already made arrangements for the increase in social benefits in November. We shall ask Parliament to approve the preparations for holding the referendum that we have promised to Scotland and Wales on the setting up of assemblies. We shall work with the greatest vigour to control inflation, to reduce unemployment, and to improve the efficiency and prosperity of British industry. We shall face our difficulties as we come to them. I can already see some looming on the horizon. I can't and don't promise that we shall succeed. I can say that we shall deserve to. But basically, I want to say to you that we go on because we are doing what is best for Britain. So, I shall not be calling for a general election at this time. Instead, I ask every one of you to carry on with the task of consolidating the improvement now taking place in our country's position. Let's see it through together.
The Prime Minister speaking in a ministerial broadcast on number 10 Downing Street. So the big news is that Mr. Callaghan has said there will be no general election for the time being. Now here's our political correspondent Peter Allen for his immediate reaction to Mr. Callaghan's statement.
Well, I think I, like many other commentators, are still recovering from the shock of that announcement, which really did catch everybody completely by surprise. It was considered only the wildest surmise that Mr. Callaghan would come on television and tell us that he intended to carry on. It was considered surmise because he is in a minority situation. The Lib-Lab Pact is all over. As soon as Parliament reassembles, he can expect to be defeated in a major vote in the House of Commons. Hence, it was considered inevitable that he would have to go for an election now. There was thought to be a group of ministers who had been pressing the case for putting off an election until the spring. Mr. Callaghan has obviously heeded their words. He gave a clue to the way he's thinking about the next election when he said, "We want to carry on. We'll wait until they forced us out. It'll be their fault if we have an election, and it won't be for the country's good."
Peter Allen. Well, Mrs. Thatcher seems to have been anticipating that the election was imminent. She spent the day on a tour of marginal constituencies in the West Midlands. And Andrew Simmons reports now from Wolverhampton.
Mrs. Thatcher is looking relaxed and radiant, waving to cheering crowds and whipping up some election fever. She's on a two-day tour of the West Midlands, a region with an important share of marginal seats. She started this afternoon off with a visit to Wolverhampton's evening newspaper. After spending several minutes chatting to shoppers and office workers, she told newsmen the Tories are now ready for an all-out fight at the polls.
We've never been better prepared. The spirit at Central Office is wonderful. They're really ready for the challenge and they're going to rise to it.
As for giving a forecast on this evening's ministerial broadcast, she's as coy as Mr. Callaghan has been. Halfway through the newspaper tour, she held two standby headline proofs for tonight's big news. One saying it's October the 5th, the other proclaiming that all is set for September the 28th. She grinned and shrugged her shoulders. Andrew Simmons, IRN, Wolverhampton.
The National Liberal Club is offering Scotland Yard full cooperation in any inquiries into the affairs of the club. The Yard announced last night that it was investigating allegations about certain members and staff. Robin White reports.
Scotland Yard has announced that inquiries into the club are being led by Chief Superintendent Ray Small of the Yard's C1 branch, which deals with serious crimes including corruption and sexual offences. The investigation is believed to have started several days ago, but is expected to last for some time. Scotland Yard have refused to confirm or deny whether their investigations will include members of the Liberal Party. The National Liberal Club was started 92 years ago and is situated in the heart of Westminster. The club has both catering and accommodation facilities. In previous years, it suffered a number of financial crises. Today, the club's ruling committee issued a statement saying the news of the reported inquiry had come as a complete surprise to them. They added that no approach of any kind has been made to the club by police authorities. Robin White, IRN.
And to repeat the evening's main news, there's to be no election this autumn. Independent Radio News, it's 3 minutes past 6.
Well, what do you know about that, eh? The weather this evening continuing dry with some sunny spells. It'll be fine overnight. Bright start for tomorrow, but some rain by lunchtime at a high of 19 degrees centigrade. So no election, but we do have the People's Choice. 6 new singles coming up right now, plus our panel of 6 who are going to listen to the 6 records and give them points out of 20. At the end of it all, we round up the panel on the phone and collect their points and see which one's got the most.